Hen Wu walked into the biggest room he had ever seen in his life, the Galactic Council Chamber was so huge that it could fit 10 football stadiums inside it easily. The ceiling was so high that clouds could form up there if they wanted to. The walls were made of some kind of shiny metal that reflected light from 1,000 different colored lamps hanging from above all. Around the circular room sat creatures that looked like they came from the wildest dreams or worst nightmares. Huyanwu had ever had. There were tall skinny beings that looked like walking trees with glowing eyes. There were short fat creatures, covered in purple fur that smelled like old cheese. There were floating jellyfish things that changed colors every few seconds, like disco balls. There were giant bugs that clicked and buzzed when they talked. And there were many others that Hein Wu could not even begin to describe. The noise in the room was incredible. Every alien species was talking in their own language. At the same time, it sounded like someone had mixed together a zoo, a construction site, and a heavy metal concert. The clicking, buzzing, whistling, screeching, and howling made Hein Wu's head hurt, but he tried to stay calm. He was here on the most important mission of his life. Hein Wu wore his best blue diplomatic suit, the one that Earth government had given him for special occasions. His hands were shaking a little and his mouth felt dry. He had practiced his speech 100 times, but now that he was here in front of all these alien beings, he felt very small and scared, but he had to do this. He had to warn them about what would happen if they attacked Earth. When Hein Wu stepped up to the speaking platform in the center of the room, all the noise suddenly stopped. It was like someone had turned off a giant radio. The silence was almost as scary as the noise had been. Hundreds of alien eyes, tentacles, sensors, and other body parts that worked like eyes all turned to look at him. Some of the aliens leaned forward in their seats. Others made sounds that might have been laughter but sounded more like metal being scraped. The speaking platform was a round circle that glowed with soft white light. When Hein Wu stepped onto it, his voice would be made louder so everyone in the huge room could hear him clearly. He took a deep breath and tried to remember everything he had practiced. Honored delegates, Hein Wu began, and his voice echoed around the massive chamber. I stand before you today with a very important warning about the military attack you are planning against my home planet Earth. He pressed a button on the small device in his hand, and suddenly a perfect copy of Earth appeared floating in the air above his head. The planet looked beautiful with its blue oceans, white clouds, and green and brown land masses. It slowly turned so all the aliens could see every part of it. The sight of his home planet gave Hein Wu strength, and he continued speaking. My people have been watching and learning for a very long time. We know that you think we are weak and stupid. We know that you believe we are easy to defeat. But I am here to tell you that you are making a terrible mistake. From somewhere in the audience came a sound like metal claws scraping on stone. A huge creature that looked like a giant ant, but with 6 arms and glowing red eyes, stood up. This was Commander Klix, the leader of the Vraxian war forces. He was 3 meters tall, and his body was covered in shiny black armor that looked harder than diamonds. Human, Klix said, and his voice sounded like rocks being crushed. Your species has been watched by our scouts for many years. You fight wars against each other with guns and bombs that barely work. You cannot even travel to other star systems, yet you live on one small planet and you fight over pieces of land and barrels of oil. What threat could you possibly be to the combined military power of 17 different galactic civilizations? Many of the other aliens made sounds of agreement. Some nodded their heads or tentacles. Others flashed lights or changed colors in ways that meant they agreed. The sound of alien laughter filled the chamber, and it was not a nice sound. Near the front of the room floated a creature that looked like a giant jellyfish made of rainbow-colored light. This was the Zephyrian delegate, and when it talked, its body pulsed with different colors that somehow made words. Perhaps the human is afraid for his backward people, the creature said. How touching, but completely useless for our military planning. Yin Wu felt anger growing in his chest, but he forced himself to stay calm. He had expected this reaction. These aliens thought they knew everything about humans, but they had no idea what they were really dealing with. You are making a huge mistake, Hein Wu said, and his voice got stronger and louder. You think you understand humans, but you only see what we let you see. You count our weapons and ships and soldiers, but you cannot count the things that really matter. You cannot measure our refusal to give up. You cannot calculate our ability to adapt and learn. You cannot put numbers on our determination to protect our families and our home. Creature made of living crystal that sparkled like a diamond chandelier projected numbers and charts into the air, all around the chamber. This was Vorth the Galactic Military Advisor, and it spoke in a voice like wind chimes. The facts are simple and clear. Vorth announced Earth population 8 billion beings. Earth interstellar warships, 0 Earth planetary defense systems, primitive and ineffective. The mathematical probability of successful human resistance is so small it might as well be 0. Our computers have run the battle simulation 10,000 times. Humans lose every single time, but mathematics cannot measure the human heart. Heian Wu replied firmly, it cannot count human courage or human stubbornness or human anger. When someone threatens the people we love, we have a saying on Earth that you should remember. The size of the fighter matters less than the size of the fight inside the fighter. You are about to learn this lesson, and it will cost you more than you can. Imagine the chamber exploded with what sounded like alien laughter, but nastier. Some aliens slapped their tentacles or claws together. Others flashed lights or made sounds like breaking glass or screaming metal. Commander Click stood up to his full height, and his red eyes glowed brighter. Your warnings are heard and completely ignored. Human Clicks announced. The invasion fleet will launch in exactly 72 standard time units. Perhaps watching your primitive species get defeated quickly will teach the rest of the galaxy that cooperation with the Galactic Union is much better than fighting against us. Your people will serve as an example of what happens to those who refuse to join our civilization. Yun Wu looked around the chamber at all the alien faces staring at him. Some looked amused, others looked bored, and a few looked almost sorry for him, but none of them looked worried. None of them believed that humans could be dangerous. That is your choice, Hein Wu said quietly, but his words carried clearly through the chamber. Just remember that I warned you. Remember that a human diplomat stood in this room and told you exactly what would happen if you attacked Earth when your fleets are burning and your soldiers are defeated. Remember this moment. Remember that you had a chance to avoid disaster, but you chose war instead. The aliens continued laughing and making dismissive sounds as Han Wu walked away from the speaking platform. His hands were no longer shaking and his mouth was no longer dry. He had done his job. He had given them fair warning. Now, whatever happened next would be their own fault. As he left the great chamber, Heian Wu allowed himself a small smile. The aliens thought they knew everything about humans, but they were wrong, very wrong, and soon they would discover just how wrong they had been. 3 days after the meeting at the Galactic Council, the alien invasion fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system like a swarm of deadly metal wasps. The ships were so many that they blocked out the stars behind them. Each vessel was bigger than anything humans had ever built in space. The smallest fighter ships were as large as city buses. The medium warships were as big as skyscrapers. The massive dreadnought battleships were like floating cities with enough firepower to destroy entire planets. Admiral Su Jin watched the approaching enemy fleet from her secret command center hidden deep inside the moon. The Luna base had been built over 50 years in complete secrecy using tunnels and caves that went down into the moon's core. The base was so well hidden that even Earth governments did not know about all of its sections. Su Jin had been preparing for this day since she was a young officer fresh out of the Space Academy. The command center was filled with dozens of screens showing every part of the solar system. Hundreds of human officers and technicians worked at their stations tracking the alien ships and coordinating the defense of Earth. But what the aliens did not know was that Earth had not been defenseless. For a very long time, Captain Dong Haiyan sat at the communications station monitoring all the alien radio signals. His job was to listen to everything the enemy said and translate it for the human commanders. The aliens were talking freely because they thought humans were too primitive to understand their languages, but humans had been learning alien languages for decades. Admiral, the alien fleet commander is sending orders to his ships, Captain Dong Haiyan reported. He is telling them that this will be the easiest conquest in galactic history. He expects the entire invasion to be finished before their dinner time. Su Jin smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret that would soon shock the enemy. The aliens think we are just smart animals living in mud huts, she said. They have no idea what we have been building while they were busy conquering other planets. For 50 years humans had been preparing for this exact moment. Every crashed alien ship had been studied and taken apart piece by piece. Every alien technology had been copied and improved. Every alien weapon had been tested and countered. Human scientists had worked day and night to understand how alien engines worked, how alien shields functioned, and how alien computers thought the Luna base was just one of dozens of secret human military installations scattered throughout the solar system. There were hidden bases on Mars, inside asteroids, and even on some of the moons of Jupiter. Each base was equipped with weapons and ships that the aliens had never seen before because humans had built them using stolen alien technology mixed with human creativity. Down on Earth, Commander J-Min was coordinating with resistance groups. In every country on the planet, what looked like normal cities and towns were actually giant fortresses, designed to make any invasion as difficult as possible. Every building had been secretly reinforced. Every street had hidden weapon positions. Every civilian had been trained to fight. The alien scouts entered Earth's atmosphere, expecting to find primitive aircraft and helpless ground forces. Instead, they found something that made their computer systems scream warnings and alarms. Cloaked human fighter ships appeared out of nowhere, moving faster than anything the aliens thought humans could build. The human ships used weapons that cut through alien armor like hot knives through butter. Lieutenant Minho was monitoring the alien communications. From his station in the Luna base, Admiral, he called out excitedly, "The alien scout ships are sending panic messages to their fleet commander. They are asking how humans developed advanced cloaking technology. They want to know where all these ships came from." Sujin laughed out loud. "For the first time in months, they never bothered to really study us," she said. "They watched our public wars and our public space program and thought that was everything we could do. They saw us fighting with guns and tanks and assumed we could never build anything better. They never realized that every human war, every human struggle, every human defeat was just practice for fighting them." The truth was that humans had been preparing for alien invasion since the first UFO crash in the 1940s. Every government on Earth had secret programs to study alien technology. Every military had special units trained to fight non-human enemies. Every scientist had backup research hidden away from alien observers who thought they were watching primitive humans play with fire. Captain Bo-Ra commanded a squadron of ships that looked exactly like asteroid mining vessels. The aliens had watched these ships for years and dismissed them as harmless industrial equipment, but when the alien fleet got close enough, the mining ships suddenly revealed their true nature. They were actually heavily armed battleships, disguised to look like civilian craft. Mining Vessel 779 requesting permission to begin operations. Captain Bo-Ra transmitted on an open channel that she knew the aliens were monitoring. "We are experiencing some technical difficulties with our mining lasers. They seem to be accidentally pointing at your ships." The mining lasers were not actually mining lasers at all. They were particle beam weapons designed specifically to penetrate alien hull armor. The disguised weapons fired concentrated energy beams that sliced through alien ships like they were made of paper. Instead of mining asteroids, the human ships began mining alien vessels for scrap metal. Across the asteroid belt, dozens of similar mining accidents began happening at exactly the same time. Ships that the aliens thought were harmless suddenly became deadly threats. The element of surprise was complete and devastating. Many alien ships were destroyed before they even realized they were under attack. On Mars, Colonel Wu Jin activated a system that the aliens thought was broken terraforming equipment. For decades, the aliens had watched humans try to change Mars' atmosphere and had seen the project apparently fail. What they did not know was that the terraforming equipment had been secretly converted into the largest electromagnetic weapon system ever built. Project Redstorm came online with a sound like thunder that could be heard across the entire planet. Massive electromagnetic pulse generators hidden all over Mars began creating magnetic field disruptions that sent alien fighter ships spinning helplessly through space. Their navigation systems failed, their weapons stopped working, and their engines shut down. "This is impossible," the alien fleet commander transmitted to his superiors back at Galactic Command. "Our intelligence reports said humans barely had interplanetary travel capability. These defense systems are more advanced than some of our own technology. How did they build all this without us knowing? The answer was simple, but the aliens were too proud to understand it. Humans had been watching and learning for much longer than anyone realized every piece of alien technology that had ever crashed on Earth or been lost during diplomatic missions had been studied, reverse engineered, and improved. Human engineers had taken alien designs and made them better using human creativity and determination back on Earth. The ground invasion forces were discovering that occupying human cities was like trying to catch smoke with their bare hands, Major Su Young commanded. The defense of New York City from a network of tunnels that connected every building in Manhattan. The subway system had been converted into a military highway. The sewers had become supply routes. Every basement was a potential command center. Human civilians would disappear when alien troops approached, only to reappear behind enemy lines with weapons that seemed to come from nowhere. Every human seemed to know exactly where to go and what to do. Every building became a fortress, every street became a battlefield, and every corner hid a potential ambush. The aliens had expected to fight human armies in open battles, where their superior numbers and firepower would guarantee victory. Instead, they found themselves fighting an entire planet, where every person was a soldier, every structure was a weapon, and every tactic they knew was useless. "We are not fighting like any species we have encountered before," reported an alien ground commander to his fleet. "These humans do not engage in honorable direct combat. They strike from shadows, disappear into their infrastructure, and turn our own tactics against us." It is as if their entire civilization was designed for war. What the alien did not understand was that human civilization had indeed been designed for war, not war against other humans, but war against anyone who threatened humanity's survival. The lessons learned from thousands of years of human conflict had been applied to the problem of fighting aliens, and the results were beyond anything the invaders had imagined possible. 1 week after the invasion began, the alien fleet was in complete chaos. What should have been a quick and easy victory had turned into a nightmare that none of the alien commanders could understand. Their ships were being destroyed faster than they could count. Their ground forces were trapped in human cities that fought back like living creatures, and their supply lines were under constant attack by enemies who appeared from empty space. Captain Bo-Ra had become the terror of the asteroid belt. Her squadron of disguised battleships had destroyed over 200 alien vessels in the past 7 days. The aliens now feared to see any human ship, no matter how harmless it looked, because they never knew when mining lasers would suddenly become death. "Raise attention, alien fleet command." Captain Bo-Ra transmitted on the emergency frequency that all alien ships monitored. "This is Captain Bo-Ra of the Earth Defense Force. I want to personally thank you for providing us with so much target practice. Our mining crews are getting very good at accidentally hitting your ships." The aliens had tried everything to stop the human attacks in the asteroid belt. They sent fighter squadrons to hunt down the disguised battleships, but the human ships would simply activate their cloaking devices and vanish into the rocky maze of asteroids. They tried to avoid the asteroid belt entirely, but that meant their supply ships had to take much longer routes that made them easy targets for other human forces on Mars. Colonel Wu Jin was having the time of his life operating the electromagnetic pulse generators that were tearing apart alien fighter formations. The magnetic field disruptions were so powerful that they could disable alien ships from thousands of kilometers away. Even better, the aliens could not figure out where the attacks were coming from because the generators were hidden all over the planet Mars base. "To all human forces," Colonel Wu Jin announced on the secure communication channel, "we have successfully disabled another alien fighter wing. That's 350 alien aircraft that are now floating helplessly in space, waiting for rescue ships that will never come." The alien fleet commander was sending increasingly desperate messages to Galactic Command, begging for reinforcements and explanations. "The humans are using technology that should not exist," he transmitted. "Our scientists assured us that Earth had no interstellar capability, yet we are facing weapon systems that are more advanced than our own in some ways." What the alien commander did not know was that human scientists had not just copied alien technology, they had improved it. Human engineers had looked at alien designs and asked questions that aliens never thought to ask. What if we made the power source smaller? What if we used different materials? What if we combined this alien technology with human ideas? The results were weapons and ships that were better than anything the aliens had ever seen. Human ships were faster because human engineers had improved the alien engine designs. Human weapons were more powerful because human scientists had found ways to focus energy more efficiently. Human shields were stronger because human mathematicians had solved problems that alien computers could not handle down. On Earth, the ground war was going even worse for the aliens. Major Su Young had turned New York City into a three-dimensional maze where every building was connected to every other building by hidden tunnels. The aliens would occupy a building only to discover that humans could appear anywhere in the city without warning. The human resistance fighters moved through the city like ghosts. They would strike at alien patrols and then vanish into the underground network before reinforcements could arrive. They used the aliens' own weapons against them because human soldiers were trained to adapt and use whatever equipment they could find. Major Su Young coordinated the defense from a command center that was built inside the Statue of Liberty. The aliens had never thought to look for human commanders inside their own monuments. The statue had been secretly converted into a fortress with communication equipment, weapons storage, and living quarters for resistance fighters. Alien ground forces. This is Major Su Young of the New York Defense Corps. She transmitted on the alien military frequency. I want to welcome you to our city. I hope you are enjoying your stay because you are never going to leave. The aliens had tried to use their superior numbers to overwhelm human positions, but they discovered that humans had turned mathematics against them. In open battle, one alien soldier was worth 10 human soldiers, but humans refused to fight in open battle. Instead, they fought from positions where one human soldier could defeat 10 alien soldiers. Every human city had been secretly prepared for invasion over decades of planning. Underground bunkers connected all the important buildings. Weapon caches were hidden in places that looked completely innocent. Supply tunnels allowed human forces to move around without being seen by alien aircraft. The aliens found that capturing human cities was like trying to hold water in their hands. They could occupy buildings and streets, but they could never control the cities. Because humans would always find ways to strike back, the human civilians were not helpless victims. They were trained fighters who knew their own territory better than any invader ever could. In space, the war was going even worse for the aliens. Human ships were now operating far beyond Earth, attacking alien bases and supply depots in other star systems. The aliens had never faced an enemy that could strike so far from their home territory because they had never fought humans before. Admiral Gunwu commanded the human space fleet from his flagship, a vessel that had been disguised as a simple cargo ship until the moment it revealed its true nature as the most advanced battleship ever built. The ship was powered by engines that combined alien technology with human innovations, creating a vessel that was faster and more powerful than anything in the alien fleet. All human ships execute attack pattern Liberty. Admiral Gunwu ordered his fleet. The aliens wanted to invade our home. Now they will learn that Earth children can fight anywhere in the galaxy. The human fleet struck with coordination that spoke of years of training and preparation. Unlike alien fleets that relied on overwhelming numbers and conventional tactics, human ships fought with creativity and unpredictability that made them almost impossible to defeat. Captain Haywan piloted her stealth destroyer through the alien formation using adaptive camouflage that made her ship look like empty space until the moment it fired its weapons. Her ship could change its appearance to match its surroundings, becoming invisible to alien sensors until it was too late to defend against her attacks. Alien Fleet Command, this is Captain Haywan of the Earth Defense Force. She transmitted as her ship destroyed another alien cruiser. Your commanders were warned that attacking Earth was a mistake, but they chose to ignore the warning. Now you are learning why humans do not make threats, they make promises. The tide of war had completely turned in favor of humanity. The aliens who had expected an easy victory were now fighting for their lives against an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move, counter their every strategy, and turn their own advantages into weaknesses. The galaxy was beginning to understand that the small blue planet called Earth was home to the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. 2 weeks after the failed invasion began, news of humanity's incredible resistance spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Civilizations that had laughed at Ambassador Hyunwoo's warnings were now holding emergency meetings as reports came in of entire alien fleets being destroyed by supposedly primitive humans. The galaxy was learning that underestimating Earth had been the biggest mistake in galactic history. On the planet Altair, Prime Counselor the Jin called an emergency session of the Altarian Federation. The meeting room was filled with panicked officials who could not believe what they were hearing from the war front. Human ships had been detected attacking alien installations in 16 different star systems at the same time, which should have been impossible for a species that supposedly had no interstellar travel capability. The human fleet is now engaging our forces in the Vega system, the Centauri sector, and the Rigel colonies. Simultaneously, Counselor the Jin announced to the terrified assembly. Their ships appear from nowhere, strike with devastating precision, and then vanish before our reinforcements can respond. This violates everything we thought we knew about human technology. The Altarian military advisor, a tall, thin creature with 4 arms and glowing blue skin, provided updates that made the situation sound even worse. Our casualty reports show that we have lost 60% of our ships committed to the Earth invasion. Human vessels seem to be everywhere at once, using tactics that our computers cannot predict or counter. What the aliens did not understand was that humans had been secretly building their space fleet for 50 years, using hidden construction facilities throughout the solar system. Every asteroid mining station had secretly been a shipyard. Every space research facility had been a weapons laboratory. Every human space mission had been gathering intelligence and preparing for war. The human ships were not just copies of alien technology, they were improvements that combined the best ideas from dozens of different alien civilizations. Human engineers had studied every type of alien ship they could find and then built vessels that were better, faster, and more deadly than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Admiral Gunwoo coordinated the human fleet from his command ship, but his vessel was never in the same place twice. Human ships used hit-and-run tactics that made them almost impossible to track or counter. They would strike at alien supply convoys, destroy everything in sight, and then disappear into hyperspace before enemy reinforcements could arrive. The aliens had built their military strategy around the idea of overwhelming force. They would gather huge fleets and attack enemy positions with superior numbers, but humans refused to fight that kind of battle. Instead, human ships would strike at supply lines, communication centers, and isolated outposts where their superior technology and tactics gave them the advantage. Captain Taeho specialized in raiding alien supply convoys. His squadron had captured or destroyed over 50 alien cargo ships in the past week. Each successful raid not only hurt the alien war effort but also provided humans with more alien technology to study and improve alien supply convoy. This is Captain Taeho of the Earth Defense Force. Captain Taeho transmitted to a group of alien cargo ships that his squadron had surrounded. We are conducting a routine inspection of your vessels. Please prepare to be boarded or destroyed, your choice. The psychological impact on alien forces was becoming as devastating as the physical losses. Alien soldiers who had expected to fight primitive humans instead found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to read their minds, anticipate their moves, and counter their strategies before they could even implement them. On the diplomatic front, Ambassador Hyunwoo found himself in a position he had never expected to be in. Instead of begging for mercy, he was now receiving secret communications from alien governments asking for ways to end the war they had started. The Zephyrian Council sent a coded message to Hyunwoo asking if humans would be willing to negotiate. Ambassador, perhaps there is room for discussion about withdrawal from Earth space. The Zephyrian Council believes that continued conflict serves no one's interest. Hyunwoo's response was polite but firm. Honored delegate, 2 weeks ago, your council voted to support the invasion of my homeworld. Your representatives called my warnings the desperate lies of a primitive species. Now you wish to negotiate because you have discovered that humans are not as helpless as you believed. The truth was that humans had been preparing for this possibility for decades. Every crashed alien ship, every diplomatic contact, every piece of intelligence gathered over 50 years had been used to prepare for the day when the galaxy would try to conquer Earth. Colonel Min-soo led special operations teams that were now striking deep inside alien territory. destroying communication networks and supply depots with surgical precision. What had begun as a defensive war had become a galactic conflict. Where humans held the strategic initiative, the aliens were discovering that their greatest weakness was their arrogance. They had assumed that their technology was superior to anything humans could develop. They had believed that their numbers would overwhelm any human resistance. They had thought that humans would surrender when faced with overwhelming odds. All of these assumptions were proving to be catastrophically wrong. Human technology was not inferior, it was different, and in many ways better. Human numbers were not smaller when every human was worth 10 alien soldiers in combat. Human determination was not weaker, it was stronger than anything the galaxy had ever encountered. The Vrexian war commander Clix, who had dismissed human warnings with such confidence, was now sending desperate requests for reinforcement to his homeworld. The humans are not fighting like any species we have encountered, he reported. Their tactics are unpredictable. Their technology is superior to our intelligence estimates, and their determination appears to be unlimited. The galactic news networks were beginning to report stories that shocked civilizations across the galaxy. The mighty Vrexian fleet that had conquered a dozen worlds had been reduced to scattered remnants hiding in asteroid fields. The Zephyrian battle groups that had never known defeat were fleeing from human ships that appeared out of empty space. On Earth, the resistance was not just holding its ground, it was growing stronger every day. Human factories that had been secretly converted for military production were turning out weapons and equipment faster than the aliens could destroy them. Human training centers were producing soldiers who were better equipped and better prepared than any alien invader commander. Jae-min coordinated global resistance efforts from a command center built inside Mount Everest. The facility had been constructed over 20 years using mining equipment that aliens thought was being used for scientific research. Instead, humans had been building the most secure military command center in the solar system. The irony was perfect. Ambassador Hyung-woo transmitted to the Galactic Council, "You sought to conquer Earth because you believed we were weak, primitive, and divided. Instead, you have united humanity against a common enemy and awakened capabilities that we ourselves did not fully realize we possessed." The galaxy was learning a lesson that would change everything. Humans were not the helpless primitive species that alien intelligence reports had described. They were the most dangerous opponents any galactic civilization had ever faced. And they were just getting started. The failed invasion had become a galactic disaster, and the worst part for the aliens was that they had been warned exactly what would happen if they attacked Earth. 3 weeks had passed since the invasion began, and what should have been a quick conquest had become the greatest military disaster in galactic history. The alien coalition had lost more ships, soldiers, and equipment in 21 days of fighting humans than they had lost in the previous century of conquering other civilizations. The cost of their arrogance was being measured in destroyed fleets, abandoned colonies, and a complete shift in galactic power. The aliens who had dismissed humans as primitive were now afraid to travel through space without heavy escorts because human raiders seemed to appear everywhere at once. Commander Taeho had become a legend among both human and alien forces. His raiding squadron had captured so many alien supply ships that Earth now had more alien technology than some alien civilizations. The captured equipment was immediately sent to human research facilities where scientists worked around the clock to understand and improve every piece of alien hardware. Intelligence reports confirm that alien logistics networks are collapsing. Commander Taeho reported to Earth Command. Their supply system was designed for fighting opponents who respected traditional rules of war they never planned. For enemies who could strike anywhere at any time without warning, the aliens had built their military strategy around the assumption that wars were fought between organized fleets in predictable battles, but humans fought like no species the galaxy had ever encountered. Human ships would attack supply convoys deep in alien territory, destroy communication satellites around alien colonies, and even raid alien shipyards that were supposed to be completely secure. The psychological impact was becoming worse than the physical damage. Alien soldiers who had once been confident in their superiority now jumped at shadows and saw human ships in every shadow. Every unexplained equipment failure was blamed on human sabotage. Every communication disruption was assumed to be a human attack. Captain Minho, commanded a stealth ship that specialized in psychological warfare. His vessel could approach alien installations without being detected and then broadcast messages that terrified alien personnel without actually attacking them. The fear of human attack was often more effective than actual human attack. Attention. Alien garrison, this is Captain Minho of the Earth Defense Force. He would transmit to alien bases, we are currently observing your facility and cataloging your defenses. We may attack now or we may attack later, but we will attack. The uncertainty was often enough to make alien forces abandon their positions without a fight on the diplomatic front. The situation was becoming desperate for the alien coalition governments that had enthusiastically supported the invasion were now secretly trying to find ways to end the conflict without losing face. Many alien civilizations were discovering that their public support for the war was causing problems with their own population's ambassador. Han Wo was no longer pleading for peace. He was now in the position of dictating terms to alien governments that were begging for mercy. The same councils that had laughed at his warnings were now sending secret envoys asking for humanitarian assistance and safe passage for their retreating forces. The Regelian ambassador sent a coded message requesting immediate negotiations. Ambassador Han Wu, the Regelian High Council, wishes to express regret for supporting the invasion of Earth. We believe that diplomatic solutions are preferable to continued military action. Yun Wu's response carried the weight of proven prophecy. Honored Ambassador, 3 weeks ago your High Council voted unanimously to support military action against my homeworld. Your representatives stated that humans deserve to be conquered for our own good. Now you discover that conquering humans is impossible. The human counteroffensive had expanded far beyond simple defense. Strike teams led by officers like Colonel Wu Jin were now operating in dozens of star systems, disrupting alien communications, destroying military installations, and liberating alien colonies that wanted to join the human alliance. Many alien colonies had been conquered against their will and were eager to rebel against their oppressors when human forces offered support. The aliens discovered that their empire was not as stable as they had believed when subject populations began rising up with human weapons and human tactical support. Colonel Wu Jin led liberation forces that specialized in freeing oppressed alien colonies. His teams would arrive at conquered worlds, provide weapons and training to local resistance movements, and then coordinate uprisings that drove out the occupying forces. People of Kepler 7, this is Colonel Wu Jin of the Earth Defense Force. He transmitted to the population of an alien colony, we are here to offer you the same choice that Earth was never given, the choice to be free, the choice to govern yourselves, the choice to live without fear. The liberation campaigns were incredibly successful because humans offered something that the galactic powers never provided: genuine freedom and self-determination. Colony after colony threw off alien rule and declared independence with human support. The galactic map was being redrawn as the alien empire collapsed from within. Back on Earth, the victory was complete, but the cost had been measured carefully. Human casualties were surprisingly light considering the scale of the conflict. The alien strategy of overwhelming force had failed completely against human preparation and tactics. General Jamin reviewed the final casualty reports from his command center. The numbers told the story of how preparation and superior tactics could overcome superior numbers. Human military casualties were less than 10,000, while alien losses were estimated at over 2 million. The aliens had brought 17 different fleets to conquer one human world. Instead, they had lost most of their military power and faced rebellions throughout their territories. The cost of underestimating humanity was higher than any civilization in galactic history had ever paid. Admiral Sujin coordinated the final phases of human victory from Luna base, watching as the last alien ships fled toward deep space. The aliens who had arrived with such confidence were now running for their lives, leaving behind destroyed fleets and abandoned equipment. Admiral Gunwu sent a message to the retreating alien forces that would be remembered throughout galactic history. Alien Fleet Command, this is Admiral Gunwu of the Earth Defense Force. You came to our solar system with 17 fleets expecting easy victory. You are leaving with less than 3 fleets and the knowledge that humans are not to be underestimated. Again, the galaxy was learning that humans possess something that no other species had ever demonstrated: the ability to turn any disadvantage into an advantage, any weakness into a strength, and any threat into an opportunity to become stronger. The failed invasion had cost the aliens much more than ships and soldiers. It had cost them their reputation, their confidence, and their belief that they were the dominant powers in the galaxy. The small blue planet they had dismissed as primitive had become the most feared military power the galaxy had ever seen. Ambassador Han Wu prepared his final message to the Galactic Council, the message that would establish humanity's place in galactic politics forever. The warning had been given, dismissed, and proven tragically accurate. Now the galaxy would have to live with the consequences of not listening when a human diplomat tried to save them from their own arrogance. 6 months after the invasion began, the war was over, but the galaxy would never be the same. The alien coalition that had confidently attacked Earth, with 17 fleets, had been reduced to scattered remnants fleeing toward the outer rim of the galaxy. The cost of their arrogance had been measured in destroyed civilizations, shattered alliances, and a complete reversal of galactic power. Admiral Sujin stood in the observation deck of Luna Base, watching the last alien warships disappear into hyperspace as they fled human space. The victory was complete, but it had come at a cost that the aliens were still calculating. The galaxy had learned that attacking Earth was the most expensive mistake any civilization could make. Captain Dong Haiyan joined her at the observation window, both officers still processing the magnitude of what humanity had accomplished. Final casualty reports show we destroyed or captured 73% of the invasion force. He reported the remaining ships are fleeing in complete disorder and requesting asylum in neutral systems. And our losses? Sujin asked, though she already knew the answer would demonstrate the effectiveness of 50 years of human preparation. Minimal, considering the scale of the conflict. Captain Dong Haiyan replied, human casualties were less than 15,000 military and civilian combined. The alien strategy of overwhelming force was completely useless against proper preparation and superior tactics. The truth was that humans had not won through superior numbers or more advanced technology. They had won through superior thinking, superior preparation, and superior determination. The aliens had brought the tools of conquest, but humans had brought the will to resist that conquest at any cost. In the Galactic Council chambers, the atmosphere was very different from the confident meeting 6 months earlier. The same delegates who had laughed at Ambassador Haiyan Wu's warnings now sat in stunned silence as they tried to understand how their mighty fleets had been defeated by a single world. The chamber that had once buzzed with arrogant dismissal of human capabilities now fell completely silent when Haiyan Wu approached the speaking platform. The aliens who had once considered humans to be barely civilized now looked at the human ambassador with something that might have been fear-honored. Delegates, Haiyan Wu began, and his voice carried the weight of proven prophecy. 6 months ago, I stood in this same chamber and warned you that attacking Earth would be the gravest mistake your civilizations could make. You laughed at my warnings and called my people primitive. You proceeded with your invasion anyway. The silence in the chamber was absolute. Every alien delegate remembered the confident predictions of easy victory, the dismissive laughter, and the arrogant assumptions about human weakness. Now, those same delegates were trying to understand how everything had gone so wrong today. You understand why humans survived and thrived on a planet that would kill most other species. Haiyan Wu continued. We survived because we never surrender, we never stop learning, and we never forgive those who threaten our families, our homes, and our freedom. Commander Klix, the Vraxian war leader who had been so confident 6 months earlier, now looked like a broken creature. His shiny black armor was dented and scarred from the battles he had barely survived. The red glow in his eyes had dimmed to a faint flicker. The humans have demonstrated capabilities that our intelligence networks completely failed to detect, Klix admitted to the assembly. Their tactical flexibility, their technological adaptation, and their absolute refusal to accept defeat have made them the most dangerous military force this galaxy has ever encountered. The other alien delegates nodded in agreement or made whatever gestures their species used to show acceptance of unpleasant truths. The Zephyrian delegate pulsed with colors that indicated shame and regret. The crystalline Vorth projected mathematical equations showing human victory probabilities that now approached 100%. The military defeat was only part of the story. The real victory was what humanity had revealed about themselves and what they had taught the galaxy about the price of arrogance, the aliens had assumed that superior technology and greater numbers would guarantee victory. They had learned that assumptions could be fatal. General Min, now promoted from his wartime rank of commander, addressed the human population in a broadcast that was monitored throughout the galaxy. The message was simple, but it carried implications that would reshape interstellar relations for generations. Citizens of Earth and friends throughout the galaxy, General Min announced from his headquarters, the invasion has been defeated. But more importantly, we have shown the galaxy that humanity offers an open hand to those who come in peace, but to those who come with hostile intent, we offer only this promise. The promise that followed became known throughout the galaxy as the Earth Doctrine, and it was carved into monuments on dozens of worlds that had been liberated by human forces. You will find that humanity's greatest strength lies not in our weapons or our technology, but in our absolute refusal to kneel before any force that seeks to conquer us. We will fight with whatever weapons we can find on whatever battlefield we are forced to defend, and we will never stop until victory is achieved. The galaxy had learned a lesson that would be taught in alien schools for centuries. Never underestimate humanity, because they are far more dangerous when threatened than when befriended. The failed invasion of Earth became a cautionary tale told throughout the stars, but humanity had also learned something about themselves. The 50 years of secret preparation had revealed capabilities that even humans had not fully understood. They had discovered that when united against a common threat, there was no limit to what they could accomplish. The hidden bases, the disguised ships, the secret weapons, and the trained civilian population had all been products of human determination to never again be helpless in the face of a superior enemy. The aliens had inadvertently created exactly what they had tried to prevent: a unified, militarized human civilization. Admiral Gun Wu commanded the human fleet that now patrolled the space lanes once controlled by alien powers. The same trade routes that had been used to transport invasion forces were now protected by human ships that guaranteed safe passage for any vessel that came in peace. Liberation campaigns continued as human forces helped oppressed colonies throughout the galaxy achieve independence. The aliens discovered that their empire was collapsing, not just from military defeat, but from the rebellion of subject populations who had been inspired by humanity's example. Captain Hay-1 led diplomatic missions to worlds that wanted to join the new galactic alliance based on freedom and mutual respect rather than conquest and domination. The human model of civilization was spreading throughout the galaxy. Carried by former alien colonies that had tasted freedom, the galaxy had been transformed by the failed invasion. Earth had become the center of a new alliance that offered protection to any civilization that wanted to remain free. The aliens who had sought to add Earth to their empire had instead lost their empire to Earth. Ambassador Haiyan Wu concluded his address to the Galactic Council with words that would echo through galactic history. The warning was given, dismissed, and proven accurate. Earth stands victorious, and the galaxy will never again make the mistake of underestimating humanity. The failed invasion had ended, but its consequences would reshape galactic civilization for generations to come. The small blue planet that had once been dismissed as primitive was now recognized as the most powerful force in the galaxy and the protector of freedom throughout the stars.